Hello and welcome to lesson 1 of 3D project creation in V-Ray and Maya. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at scene project creation and asset preparation. In terms of project creation, one of the things we're going to be looking at is setting up our render settings and also setting up our render elements. In terms of render settings, we need to make sure that we're using V-Ray as our renderer, as obviously that will not give us desirable results if we're, for example, stuck on Maya software. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure we've changed our renderer to V-Ray. And one of the things that I also like to do is to go to our preset section and create a preset. I'm just going to quickly hide that. Go back to our preset. Preset in terms of some of the render settings we'll be using, like test renders. So let's quickly go to our... In this case, I've got a default V-Ray test render. This is obviously the test render that comes with the default V-Ray. I'm setting my minimum and maximum subdivisions to 1 to 4, my threshold to 0.003, but you can always go to 0.009. I just like using 0.003. Pretty much that's all I'm doing for my test. My test setup. It helps you work efficiently because you need to be able to carry a quick test and you don't want to be waiting for hours. I know this is all basic knowledge, but it's amazing how many people just wait for the renders to go through 1 hour later to find out that it's wrong. So a quick preset just makes you go back and test the scene. Next thing I also do is to go to a production preset. Now, for my productions preset, I've always done my min and maximum subs to 1 to 16, and my threshold is also still 0.003. My anti-aliasing filter is set to, I like to use cook variable at 2.5 because I like the edge to be a lot softer, a bit softer CG. Once again, that depends on what you're doing. I mean, for me, it helps a lot. It helps me get a better result. So pretty much that's all I'm doing with that. And that setting, obviously, is called production. You just save that as production setting. And once again, there's no GI. We're going to be dealing with GI later. Now, for the final rendering, I've also got a final preset called high res. This is my final output. When I've done all my look development, I've done all my optimization. And this one actually, although it says 1 to 25, I'm going to put it back to 1 to 16. Because I really don't think there's anything in my scene that will warranty me having 1 to 25. So the only difference in this one is my output resolution, which is 2561 1141. That's just my final resolution. And I've also got extra. I've got some render elements. These render elements are actually in every. They're present in every preset that we've saved. So all you need to do is you can add some more or take some out. Take some out. But whatever you decide, you need to make sure that you need some sort of render elements like diffuse, GI, lighting, reflection and refraction, and specularity and sample rate to help you diagnose problems that will happen in your scene. So in terms of render globals, I don't think there's anything else we need to worry about. Everything is pretty much good to go. We need to take out our GI, obviously, from our preset. So all you need to now do is to just save presets so that when you want to use them, you can actually, just load them. So I'm going to go back to my test preset because that's what I'm going to be using for my test scenes when the time comes, when I decide to test my scene. In terms of asset preparation, the asset we're going to be using can be found on the Digital Tutors asset library. This female android is an animation. When you load the asset, you will notice it's an animation. So that's why I've stuck to frame 0 because that's the pose that I'm going to be working with. Once again, this is under the animation section. Under Maya animation, you should be able to find this one pretty easily. Now the next one also is our drone. You can find this in the modeling section, Maya modeling section, the drone, and it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing to worry about. The only thing you might notice is that some of the sections are actually done in knobs. you might have to convert some of them to polygons, depending on the situation. I'm going to go through that as we go to the look development stage, because the assets come in with basic Maya Lambert shader when they come into your scene. So when we get to our look dev section, when we actually use V-Ray shaders, I'll be able to talk in detail as to how we're going to approach some of the problems we might come across as we go along. So in terms of scene asset preparation, that's all with the asset. The asset is pretty straightforward. They're very good assets. They've done a good job, so you don't really need to worry about anything. The only thing we need to worry about is when we start actually shading the asset and lighting the asset. Then we actually, obviously, logically come across some problems, but we should be able to fix those problems. So scene preparation, I mean, that's all I'm doing. Like I said, it's a basic scene. So far so good. We've looked at our render settings. This first lesson is just a quick teaser, just to give you an idea of how we're going to be walking through some of the sections. So in the next lesson, we're going to be looking at laying out our scene properly. Right now, I've got a render camera, but obviously this is not our final layout. We're going to be adding more drones, about 10 drones, and we're going to lay them out in such an interesting way, obviously following the rule of thirds and following a bit of camera composition techniques to give us a full, dynamic cinematic look as we start lighting our scene. So obviously that takes a while. So the layout section will give us an idea of exactly how the final scene will be. We're not going to be dealing with any animation, so that obviously makes life a bit easier. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson when we start laying out our drones and also laying out our female android.